Hello everybody, this is Stephen Howson. This is the Sunday pay-per-view. As usual, I've got a nice free copy of The Sun from the shop, but I also picked up a Telegraph. I've only got the sport page up because it's one of the fucking massive broadsheet ones. And I'll touch a little bit on last night's game as well, because I haven't done my own review for this channel. I did one for Full Time Devils, so if you want, go check that one out. It's the one with the Rashford goal scoring as the thumbnail on it. I didn't really think I had anything else to add last night, so I thought there's no point in me just doing a 2-minute video for the sake of it. I'd rather just compile it in with the Sunday pay-per-view. Now, that's a great photo. And we've had a couple of moments like this in the last year or so. The cup final is the one that sticks out in memory as the players have gone over to the fans. It shows the connection between the fans and the players, and I think that's something that's really key, is that through the struggle that we've had over the last 3 years, which is not really struggle, is it, when you look around at what's going on at some clubs, but through the lean times that we've had, and certainly a dip in form and in challenging for titles and stuff these last 3 years, that connection with the players, and especially homegrown lads like Marcus Rashford, has grown and it's increased, and you can see the feeling and you can see the emotion on his face. You can see what it means to the fans. Obviously, everyone went mental yesterday. It feels good winning a game in the 90th minute like that. Jose Mourinho's 1-0s, or the 1-0s he was famous for, was a 1-0 close-up shot. A 1-0 in the first 15 minutes, close-up shot, end of. This was a Fergie 1-0 win. This was the sort of 1997 vintage Cantona 1-0 win that we used to get. This is where we've been knocking on the door all game, and then in injury time we finally managed to pull something out of the bag. McCullough said it in his review yesterday, it's championship form, without getting too carried away and saying it in the first week of the season. But he's right, it's championship form. I was going to say we play bad, but we didn't play bad at all. We struggled breaking down. Space is the hardest thing. When a team comes at you, they leave space. They leave players in offensive positions so they can attack on the counter quickly against you. When a team's got no interest in doing it and they're thinking, do you know what? We'll carry the ball over the halfway line ourselves and we'll look to set pieces to try and cut you open. They can just defend in numbers. And we saw it under Louis van Gaal that if you haven't got any idea how to break that down, if you haven't got the guile, the personnel to be able to break that down, then you've got problems. We saw at the end of last season, Rashford is a guy that's able to break that down because he is one-track minded. He is direct if he is nothing else. He is focused on one thing only, and the one thing he wants to do is he wants to pick the ball up and he wants to run at you. You saw the Galatasaray game where he commits the goalkeeper for the penalty. We've seen it a couple of times in yesterday's game where he was unlucky with a shot just a few minutes before his goal, made a fingertip save from the keeper. He is a guy that gets into positions. The composure for his shooting, though, I honestly don't know where it's come from, because as I said a lot towards the back end of last season, he would find himself in those positions in the under-18s, regular, one-on-one with the keeper and stuff like that. But he didn't have the composure. He would be running too quickly almost sometimes because of his pace, and he would blast it over, he would put it in the stand, he would put it straight at the keeper, or he hit the bar a couple of times as well in one game. And it was almost to the point where you were just laughing about it. You're like, he gets in wonderful positions and he can't finish. In the 9-10 months since I've written about him having no composure, I think I said, at the moment he lacks the composure, but if he finds it, then it's game over. It's looking like game over, isn't it? His finishing's fantastic. His finishing is very, very high level. And his composure is even more high level. For the weight of expectation of what's going on around the club and what's going on him, I think he handles it tremendously. And I think this is another indictment on the failing Manchester United Youth Academy, that we have players of his ilk coming through and they make the step up to the first team with the minimal of fuss. Fosu Mensah, Borthwick Jackson and Riley being the other ones. Now the other three are not considered as ready for the first team as perhaps he is, but I also think that there's less risk in bringing on a forward player, a wide player, than there is bringing on a defender or a central midfielder. I think there's always more opportunities for younger players to come through when they're a forward player, and I think that's what's happened here with Rashford. And do you know what, though? He's took it at every single turn. He's took it. He took it for England. He took it in the league. He took it in the Europa League on his debut. When you give this kid an opportunity, he goes cool and then takes it. It's crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely crazy. I'm loving watching him play at the moment, though, because that sort of aggression and attitude is great to see. and it pales into comparison with some players that you look like don't give a shit at times. What was the first one we want to touch on? So, Allardyce warns Stones was kick off on this one. Allardyce warns Stones to cut the costly mistakes. A little bit laughable that you've got a £50 million centre half that everyone's wanking all over, and the England manager, he wasn't selected for England in the summer, remember, as well, is saying make sure you cut the mistakes out. This is my issue with Stones. I don't think he's a Guardiola-style centre-half. Very nice on the ball. Maybe better suited to a defensive midfielder. I think at centre-half, for a defender, he can't defend to the level that you expect sometimes a defender to defend. That's what I see with Stones. He might change and mature into that sort of thing, but really for £50 million, you wanted to be buying something that was quite ready, really, didn't you? Quite ready. Madness. Right, what was the other stuff that I wanted to talk about in this? I did make notes, but now I can't remember what I've done with them. There's a little bit on Fellaini. I'm never going to get this up to the screen. I've got my headphones in as well, so I'm going to struggle even more. So we've got this bit here on Fellaini helping an old woman in the crowd yesterday during the celebrations. Now, it sounds like there was a guy that broke his leg. We laugh all the time, limbs everywhere when we scored. But there really was limbs everywhere yesterday when we scored. It looks like there's an old woman she looks unhurt, to be honest, or she looks okay. But there was some poor lad has broke his leg in the melee yesterday. You can't beat winning like that, can you? I would actually rather win like that than be 4-0 up at half time and then have the rest of the game mean nothing. Leicester finally got back to winning ways with Jamie Vardy scoring yesterday. Chelsea back on the up and up. And Chelsea's a team I fear this year. I think they will come second to Manchester United this year. I think they'll finish above City. I think there's just something about them. I like Conte as a manager. Hazard looks like he's back in the mixer. Kante is a hell of a signing. I think they're going to be the ones that we need to look out for. Sam Wallace has got actually, can we just throw this one out, actually? This is the Telegraph. They blocked me on Twitter, the Telegraph, and I've never tweeted them. What's all that about? Anyway, so Sam Wallace has got a decent piece on Wilfried Zaha, talking about the £30 million price tag that Crystal Palace have put on him. £30 million is mental when you consider that they bought him back off. We paid like 12, 13 for him. We sold him back to them for 3, I think. And now someone else has come in and they're going, nah, that's laughable. The fucking money they've made on this kid already. He'll probably end up back there as well. His end product is the problem. Wonderful skill, wonderful agility on the ball, explosive pace, is a threat. And I think if he was in a better team, you'd probably see more of him. I thought he didn't get enough fair shake of of opportunities at Manchester United. He does lack the end product, though. I will say that. He definitely does lack a little bit of end product. But what he does have is he does have the ability to open up a defence. Now, if you can get other people running around him, I think you would see a better Wilfried Zaha. But, I mean, maybe it is the right move for him to go to Tottenham. I do think he'll end up moving, to be honest. I think Tottenham will end up throwing it. I think it's just Levy just playing the game, isn't it? There's only a few days left in the window. It does end middle of this week, so who knows? I think we're probably seeing the last of United's major signings coming in terms of at least first-team players. I don't think we'll be getting another. This always weirds me out in the Telegraph and that. They have a single sheet just like floating in the middle of it all. Apparently, we've tried to bring Nzonzi into the England squad. Allardyce signed him for Blackburn, and he wants him in the England squad. And FIFA have blocked it. It's kind of a strange one. I know we're struggling for players, but not struggling that much, are we? I do worry how Sam Allardyce is going to take to being England manager. And almost a perfect segue into this one, actually, which is in the back of the Sun, which is special under 21. Jose Droy as star makes Sam's call look rash. Love a good pun, the Sun, don't they? And they're basically using this as a stick to beat Sam Allardyce with already, saying that Rashford's proving that he should have been in the England squad. Not overly asked if he's in the England squad, and to be honest, anyway. It does make a mockery of his selection policy. Joe Hart gets in there, and Rashford doesn't, and the reason being he hasn't played enough. Rashford's shown you what he can do. He is probably deserving of being in the consideration of the England squad, but again, it's game time, isn't it? If he isn't going to play him, then there's no point taking him. It was the same for anyone in the summer that went and didn't go. There was no point going if you're not going to play, and if in Sam's mind he's like not going to play him, then he might as well go to the under-21s and start and get 90 minutes as a striker and see what he can do, because I think that'll be better for him. I don't think we're going to see him in the under-23s for United much this year, so as much 90-minute matches as he can get, the better for me. They're also saying that the Toffees, Everton, are going for Joe Hart. Oh yeah, Klopp. So Klopp seen his arse big time yesterday about the penalty with Jan Vertonghen over Matip. And I have to agree that if you look at what's been given for a penalty so far this season, then yeah, that was a penalty. That was a penalty all day long. But it wasn't given. So you have to move on with it. I think after that they took the lead. But they couldn't hold on to it. And then there was a Klopp out, I was going to say LVG out then. A Klopp out campaign last night with Liverpool fans, which made for funny reading. Go and check it out. It does make for funny reading though. What else did we got in here? So obviously, as I said, a little bit there on Jose Mourinho and Marcus Rashford, using it as a little bit of a stick. Big double page piece saying that Guardiola is all heart, making the stars feel loved is his secret. I don't think Joe Hart quite agrees on that one. There is a transfer rumour in here for... there's also something on Sam Allardyce's first game, what they expect the team to be, which isn't inspiring in many ways, to be honest. They reckon it's going to be Forster in net, Walker and Shaw as fullbacks, Stones and Cahill centre-half, Drinkwater, Dyer and Ali as the midfield, and Sterling as a number 10 behind Rooney and Kane. Not sure you're going to see 4-4-2, in all honesty. I think Big Sam's more of a 4-5-1 kind of guy. I expect that you're likely to see that. And what was the one thing? Yeah, so there is a little bit of a transfer rumour here. And this is United moving for some teenager called Burke from Nottingham Forest. As I said, I think all of our first team business is done, but our under-21 squad does need, or under-23 squad as it is now, does need a little bit of strengthening, so I do expect that there's going to be some signings coming in for that, to bolster that sort of side, especially as there's been a lot of fringe players that have gone. I've never seen this kid play, so we will have to do a bit of YouTube research, I reckon, on him this week. And finally, on the final page, you've got Villa trying to sign Abel Hernandez from Hull for 20 million, which is kind of crazy, really, isn't it? A Championship side trying to buy a Premier League side player, and I get the impression that Hernandez would go, which is crazy. You think everybody wants to play in the Premier League. Hull are going to be in problems if they... Well, I can't see Hull even agreeing to sell him, to be honest. One, they haven't got the owners in place at the moment. Who's going to sanction that sort of sale? They're struggling for players. He's one of their best players. Absolute madness if they let this go. We saw yesterday, they're going to be tough to break down. They're going to be resilient and they will get a lot of draws. Those 2 wins that they got in the first 2 games are going to be key. You need to get over that 35-point mark, don't you? So they need another 29 points or 28 points. 29 points. I think they can get it. Mike Phelan probably going to come out looking great at the end of this season, or even if they don't give him the job on a full-time basis, they've performed admirably with the squad that they've got in the first few games. What I don't understand is how a Premier League team can't hold an open trial I say open, but like a behind closed doors trial. And if you're a Championship player, if you're end of your contract, look how many 34, 35-year-old journeyman players must there be that you think, I could do a job there at Hull, pick up a nice fat cheque for a year. Like, why can't they go and rinse the loan market? Why haven't they come to United? Why hasn't Mike Phelan come to United? He's I'm sure got a good relationship with Nicky Butt, the academy director. Why can't you say, listen, Andreas Pereira is off over there at Granada. Why don't you bring him here? If there's players on the fringe of stuff, like maybe Fosu Mensah's not going to get a gig. Maybe Maybe Mourinho's not got him in his plans. Maybe then he goes to Hull. If there's any players that aren't going to get first team opportunity at United, then Hull would be a great place to go because they've got, I think they've got 16 players all in, haven't they? So, what the hell? Like, you're going to be, at the very least, you're going to be on a bench every single week. At the very least. You put in a decent performance, you're going to start. So, if I was a young player, I would be thinking, get me a loan to Hull. What's the worst that could happen, really? You're going to get first team games, I think. So, that's that. And at the moment, I think they've spent, or the net spend is 0. So how they're going to be bringing in more players is just nightmare scenario. Interesting to see where the rest of it goes. Not a lot of money being spent, really. Money being spent by United, Liverpool, City. Arsenal now have finally spent a little bit of cash, but I suppose Chelsea spent a little bit as well. Interesting to see what goes on for the rest of the season, for the rest of the window. Make sure you check out Transfer Review next Friday when we'll be wrapping it all up. And there you go. That'll do for today's Sunday paper review, I think. Not so much talking points as I expected there to be, in all honesty, today. I thought there'd be a little bit more in terms of talking points. The City game's about to kick off in less than an hour, probably within a couple of minutes of this going up, actually. So maybe something happens in the City game. If they don't get 3 points at home to West Ham, I think that's going to be a talking point for the rest of the week, isn't it? Going into the derby, which is, of course, the next Manchester United game. Internationals next Sunday. I think it's England-Slovakia on Sunday. And interesting to see how next week develops. The build-up towards the Manchester derby, especially with there being an international break in the middle, is going to get ridiculous, I think, isn't it? It's going to be absolutely off it. And do you know what? I can't wait. Love a bit of fishing with the City fans because they bite every single time. Anyway, that will do. Oh, shit, we got 20,000. I haven't got a beer or anything. I should celebrate, shouldn't I? I'm not going to go too mad celebrating. I think it was a fucking brilliant milestone for me to hit. It took me 6 months to get the first and 3 months to get the second 10,000. So if it goes just at the rate of this second 10,000, around about 3,000 subs a month, about 100 or so a day, then I'll be very happy. And the ultimate goal is around about 100. Yeah, fuck it, 100. I want that silver play button. Is it? I don't know how far off. Is it a year off? Is it 18 months off? I don't know. On 3,000 a month, you're going to say it is achievable inside of 12, 18 months, isn't it? But can I keep the daily uploads going? Because obviously I see a massive spike in them when I do regular uploads. So we will be doing the regular uploads. And as soon as the gaming comes out, there might be 2 uploads on a couple of days a week with FIFA and Football Manager stuff coming out. And I'm also thinking about buying a Nintendo NES original one and just doing some 8-bit gaming if there's any decent games on there that I can do. So that's what I'm going to be doing, I think. So thanks for watching. Please hit the like button because it matters loads in helping getting the video found in the searches. Thank you if you've subscribed to help me get to 20,000. I am absolutely fucking blown away. Only started this in January. So to have got to 20,000 so fast, I'm obviously doing something right, but it means fuck all without you lot, so thank you. And give it a share if you enjoy as well. That really helps it get found. So, nice one. Back tomorrow. I think I'm doing the full-time review for Devils and the vlog. Possibly the vlog tomorrow. There's not a lot in it, but it might be the vlog. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Laters.